Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with game number 5. The final deciding game of the 2005 ever OSL. And we have had an incredible match thus far. And we're going to have the last game between these two folks on your screen right now. Jelizerg versus GoodFriend. This is going to be on the map Forte. The map where it all started is where it's all going to end. The map which GoodFriend, a little bit surprisingly, took an early advantage in the series by winning the first game against Jelizerg, is where the last game is going to be played as well. There they are. Jelizerg looking focused. GoodFriend looking a little bit harried. Jelizerg showing he can keep his cool. GoodFriend maybe looking a little bit nervous in this situation. This is the first time ever that GoodFriend has been in this position in a finals, let alone in game number 5 of a finals. And so there's a little bit of pressure on him here. But Jelizerg has been the one to mostly show that he has been having to adapt to pressure and deal with it. And has been the one that's made some blunders that have lost him games in this series. So, game number 5. Excuse me, game number 5. Is it going to be a situation where GoodFriend finally shows us that he can outplay the God of War? Or is it going to be a situation where Jelizerg shows us that he's going to make a crucial blunder again and lose the series in the crucial moment? Or is it going to be a situation where Jelizerg shows that he is the dominant Zerg, that he can beat the man who beat Go Rush, that he can beat GoodFriend and secure his ability to basically beat all of the Terrans that threaten him right now? We're going to find out here in game number 5, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is the map where there is a narrow ramp out of your base into an expansion that's kind of far away. It's kind of hard to hold. The choke point is a little bit wide near the area. And that's why we saw Jelizerg get an expansion in another main base. Actually, get 2 expansions in 2 other main bases in the first game. And was basically very, very secure as a result. He had to build kind of extra sunkens, but he was able to in order to defend multiple positions, but then it was just almost impossible to break. And GoodFriend just couldn't deal with it. After a while, I should say, in the beginning, GoodFriend did have a way to deal with it, of course. He couldn't break the ramps with just Medic Marines and Fire Bats. But then Jelizerg gets a hatchery down on the low ground. That is really interesting. What is that position? It's like a low ground hatchery. It's not really. I'm actually not even sure how. I guess that's in a good spot, actually. Okay, I mean, because you want to ideally put your second hatchery in a position where it can defend your natural expansion, right, and also cover your main, of course. You know, as your normal choke usually tries to do. I'm just not like 100% familiar with this map enough to be able to tell how well that's placed in terms of blocking that spot right there that we just saw that SCV kind of camping out in a potential expansion of Jelizerg in order to block that. But it just didn't look like it was right in the right spot, but it could be. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that because obviously Jelizerg knows the best spot to put his expansion. I was just trying to figure out, like, if he'd put the hatchery in a somewhat non-optimal place just to make sure he got it down and had some creep in the region that he needed it to be so he couldn't get blocked out entirely, like, you know, we've seen, like we saw Nada versus who was that? Nada versus Go Rush? I don't remember who that was from a couple seasons ago, where Nada just ran by here. Is he going to cancel that? Okay, finally cancels it at the last second. Get a little money back there. But he's still trying to delay this hatchery. The SCV finally dies, though, to the prolonged assault from the drones there, and he's going to be able to get a third hatchery down in that expansion spot. This is a little bit dangerous because GoodFriend is going for 2 barracks play. Now, Jelizerg is sacrificed a little bit of defensibility by putting down that 3rd hatchery, going for some economy, and as a result, he may die to an early push by GoodFriend here, just by not having enough stuff. Then what that means, though, is he's going to have to put down a lot of sunken colonies once he does have that creep there. You know, this is a timing. There's a timing, though, where he won't have the creep up yet. He won't have the sunken colonies up yet. Are we going to see GoodFriend go for that timing and go for an attack and try and secure the victory in this final game in that moment when Jelizerg has a bit of vulnerability before those sunkens go up? He's got a factory. He's got an academy. It looks like he's going to go not quite for a timing, actually. He's going to go for a little bit later push with tanks and medics and firebats is kind of what it's looking like in this situation. Of course, he has probably practiced this build multiple times. That's putting it lightly. He's practiced this build a ton in the weeks leading up to this match, and so he's got the timing down perfectly, depending on what kinds of things Jelizerg usually does. But Jelizerg going for 3 hatcheries, you know, possibly is going to throw him off a little bit. He might have been expecting a two hatchery build. It is still only a 2 base build, but anyway, we're going to see how this plays out. It's hard to tell because this is a little bit different from what we've seen for both players. But again, I like GoodFriend switching up a little bit, staying with his 2 barracks play. But wow, my voice cracking here from casting, getting a little bit too excited about my cast here. But 2 barracks play, but switching up the follow-up from the 2 barracks play, as he did with Go Rush, was able to kind of keep Go Rush on his toes and was able to secure victory in that semifinal. So, Jelizerg, okay, I was completely wrong, willing to admit it when I was, but Jelizerg put his hatchery in a really good spot there, and I just was not super familiar with the way that that choke point was lined up. So Jelizerg is going to have the static defenses at his choke point to try and deal with this. Now, of course, we see Siege Mode researching right now, and he's keeping his tank back, by the way. He wants to make sure that if Jelizerg runs a few lings in to kind of gauge the composition of his army, Jelizerg will not be able to actually see that position or see the tank and know what's coming, basically. Oh, the SCV does get shut down, but now he's going for the push. Siege Mode is going to complete soon, so by the time he arrives at Jelizerg's base, Siege Mode will be in place, and we will see him be able to shell, because in this case, Jelizerg is he took the low ground choke point instead of the high ground expansion, so vision is not going to be a problem for those tanks. So GoodFriend is going to be able to push in here. Look at this nice little block for the counterattack. He knows Jelizerg loves the counterattack, so he's going to put a few units on the ramp, and there's the little counterattack coming in here. He's going to siege up outside of that expansion, and there's the counterattack. The firebat comes off the ramp! The firebat comes off the ramp to try and position the SCV, and then at the exact moment, the Zerglings come in there, so they actually get us around on the firebat and kill it off. Jelizerg has spaced out his sunken colonies to make it more difficult for those tanks to actually do the damage, but GoodFriend has actually found a nice spot where he doesn't actually have to move. He can continuously fire from those tanks and keep shelling onto those sunken colonies. Jelizerg's his Zerglings that were out on the map have actually also been killed. GoodFriend may be able to take the game right now. There's only 1 sunken left, but the Mutalisks are out now. Is Jelizerg going to go for the main base and try and counterattack, or is he going to try and deal with the tanks with those Mutalisks? And it looks like GoodFriend has no turrets. GoodFriend has no turrets. He doesn't even have an engineering bay yet. Jelizerg, it is open hunting season on SCVs now, but in the meantime, 1 more sunken is all that's left. It might be a base trade scenario again where Jelizerg goes after the main base, but in the meantime, once the sunkens fall, GoodFriend can just do whatever he wants with those medic marines. So Jelizerg has brought his Mutalisks back. He's continued to build backup line of sunken colonies. Does he have any in his main? He has 1 in his natural, but I don't know if he has any in his main. So this hatchery is going to go down, and that second to last sunken is going to die. Can Jelizerg hold this off? He's done greater hold-offs before, but this is looking very dire. Building sunken colonies, and he's spacing them out really, really well to make sure that they don't die very quickly, slowing that push down a little bit. But again, he's trying to deal with these tanks with the Mutalisks, but there's just not a lot he can do here. Oh no, one Mutalisk runs straight through the Marine fire and dies. And at this point, I don't think he has to even wait for the tanks. He doesn't have to siege up and go. He can actually just stim in and actually kill the Sunken Colony. The Mutalisks are diving in, trying to do a lot of damage. Someone rooting for GoodFriend there, pumping his fist, as it looks like GoodFriend might be able to break the defenses of GoodFriend. I'm sorry, GoodFriend might be able to break Jelizer's defenses and might be able to take the series, might be able to take his first goal, but the Mutalisks say no! No, not this time, not yet, maybe not ever. He breaks the Marines and takes out the tanks, and Jelizer is held. And has he lost enough, though, that GoodFriend still has the advantage? That's the question here. GoodFriend only has a handful of Marines out here. He's still in a not the best position. He's managed to get turrets up in the meantime, though. In fact, putting those turrets in a nice spot where they're kind of protecting the north end of his main base, but also protecting the south end of a potential expansion base. It's a really good spot there. Jelizer now has the chance to be a little bit offensive. The push has been slowed down. Without the tanks there, the Marines are not as much of a threat against Jelizer. So Jelizer is held off. He lost a hatchery. He lost like 7 sunken colonies, but he maintained control of his base. He didn't lose any crucial tech buildings, and he didn't lose his drones either. So he still got his quote-unquote full economy, although he was not ever actually fully saturated there. There's a lot of turrets here. Jelizer's going to go in and attack them, though. He's got a sizable count of Mutalisks, and that ridge is now actually going against GoodFriend's to his disadvantage. He's actually in the main base now, camped on top of the barracks, losing so many Mutalisks, and he's actually going to lose like half of his Mutalisks. The others running for dear life with just a handful of hit points there. That may have been a crucial blunder by Jelizer. He got 2 turrets and like 4 or 5 Marines, maybe 6 Marines, and lost a significant group of Mutalisks there as a result. But he still has built up more. He's always making units. Jelizer continuously producing units, squeezing in the drones here and there as well, it looks like, in order to get his economy going. But doesn't look like he's going to be going for a 3rd base right now. He knows that he can't quite afford to. He's trying to rebuild another sunken line. It looks like one of the sunken colonies may have been still there, or he actually might have just rebuilt on that creep. So he kept the creep alive in order to be able to get this position back again. So he has 1 spot to delay, and the siege tank, there's only 1 siege tank there. It looks like Jelizer trying to go in there, trying to delay, but there's only a handful of sunks here. But this is pretty much all in by GoodFriend. He has not tried to expand. He's just been constantly producing Marines here, and Jelizer has to defend this push. He's trying to get some of the reinforcements. They don't have medics, and it's just not working. The Marines are +1 upgraded, by the way, so they're doing a ton of damage to these Mutas, but the Mutas are multitudinous enough to take out the reinforcing army. He tried to bring his push down south to basically protect the reinforcements that were only going to protect that tank anyway. The tank slowly and steadily shelling the sunken colonies here. Jelizer, again, trying to play it slow and steady and calm, trying to build up enough stuff, but he has not been able to get any units out into the map. You know, normally Jelizer would want to have a dozen Zerglings out on the map right now that he could bring in from behind these Marines when he goes in. And GoodFriend is pulling back. What is he doing? Why is he pulling back? I can hear the confusion in the voices of the Kreencasters as well. Why is he pulling back right now? I think he might be okay. I think what he's doing is he's bringing his units south again to rendezvous with the other force so they don't get picked off slowly by the Mutalisks, and now they're all returning again back north, but this time with extra Marines and with 2 extra tanks as well. So that's what's going on. Okay, I was like, why is he falling back? He's putting the screws to Jelizer right now, but what he was doing is just rejoining his whole army together basically in order to mount a unified front here and try and go for the kill. So now with 3 tanks instead of 1, he's able to do this shelling, and this is going to be very difficult for Jelizer to deal with. Again, Jelizer does not have any units out on the map with which to, you know, try and delay reinforcements. He's just using his Mutalisks to do that, and actually, here we go. So this is why he went back to kind of use his main force to chaperone his expansion force, because that's what happens. The Mutalisks can just pick them off if they're not accompanied, if they're just by themselves. And, you know, this is something that is very, very strong. Jelizer almost gets a tank. Looks like he is going to try and go in for the last shot there. No. The Marines are in a nice spot. He's going to be able to reinforce. Okay, what? Oh, how does that tank still alive? Looks like he might have attacked a Marine or something instead. But there's still 3 tanks left. There's going to be maybe soon 2. But it doesn't matter. It's still enough to be shelling these sunken colonies. So much pressure being put on Gelizerg right now. Colonies going down before they can even finish morphing here. And he's got to get something to deal with this other than Mutalus. He's lost so many Mutas and Lings in the process. How is he going to be able to hold this off? If he can hold this off, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be an absolute miracle because there's so much pressure being put on Gelizerg right now. He doesn't seem to be able to have anything to stop it. He's even building missile turrets in this spot in Gelizerg's choke point right now. He's not even going for the tanks, by the way, which is, I think, kind of a smart move if you can whittle down the Marines. That maybe even a better spot to be in. Okay, there we go. He's got to pick a point to go in. He picks off one of the tanks. He picks off some more Marines. He's microing incredibly well, especially considering that he can't really even clump these Mutalisks up. But here he goes in. This is the last dish defense. He's picked off enough Marines that he might be able to polish off the whole force with all of the Zerglings going in as well. And he kills off all the tanks. The Zerglings are enough. And he's going to take out the entire force of GoodFriend. He's going to defend it. And that guy in the crowd, who I guess must be a family member of GoodFriend, who was pumping his fist victoriously earlier on, is now looking a little bit defeated. Because he's just... GoodFriend is still on one base. That's the thing. Gelizerg now going in here and attacking the rally point. There's some turrets there, but... Oh my god, look at the look of shock on her face. She must be a GoodFriend fan. That is just an absolute horror that it has just all gone absolutely 180 degrees from a few minutes ago. And the Zerglings are coming in here. Gelizerg is going to go for the killing blow here, I think. He doesn't even have to get up that ramp. So much of the infrastructure of GoodFriend is on this low ground that he can just go for that. And a couple Zerglings chasing Marines out kind of on the map while another Zerglings get those turrets. And this crucially, he's going to lose those depots. You do not have a very big base on this map. And so there's nowhere to put the depots. Putting the depots on the low ground seemed like a smart move at the time, but now they're vulnerable. And he's going to lose the engineering bay. He's not even floating it away. Oh! I didn't even see GoodFriend had expansion in the bottom right with 2 bunkers as well. I'm completely apologize. I didn't see that. I saw some vision down there, but I didn't know that it was an entire base down there. So GoodFriend is not actually out of this. He's lost a lot of infrastructure with those buildings, but he's still in decent shape with two bases. But the thing is, with 2 bases and like 6 barracks, that would be fine. But he's got 3. He had to float one up, and he hasn't really been able to build more. I think he lost one on the low ground there as well to the Mutalist. And no, this Zergling's gonna find the spot. He finds the base. Gelizerg's like, all right, why is he not giving up? How is he able to continue producing units? He's going across the map. He's gonna target the vulnerable side base. He's like, all right, well, you got so much stuff. It's gonna be so hard to break that choke point with all the turrets on your main base. But you have nothing on the ramp. I can get up the ramp with my Zerglings. I can kill this off. There's only 2 bunkers that are protecting it. He's going to go right in on top of it. The Zerglings are coming in from the side as well. He's going to kill 1 bunker. There's 1 last bunker. Can he repair it in time? He's got all of his SCVs set to repair it, but there's only a handful of Marines in that bunker, and it goes down. The Marines are going to die as well. The bunker is going to die, and the Marines die, and the SCVs are going to die, and... that command center is gonna die as well. And oh my gosh, look at this. GoodFriend has mined out of his main. He is distance mining with he's having to float his main command center out to the expansion to try and hold that. Gelizerg in the meantime, with the lower saturation, is still mining his main and his natural, and he's morphing lurkers. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, Gelizerg has somehow done it. I don't know how. He was under so much pressure. He was under so much pressure from GoodFriend and lost so many units unnecessarily. Then, out of nowhere, he just didn't fold. Just absolutely cooler than a cucumber. Oh no! Oh, the stop lurkers! Oh no! Oh, GoodFriend's entire final last-ditch force is just decimated. It looks like he actually saved a lot of the units, but now he's coming in with the Lings and the Lings and the Mutas from the other side, and the lurkers coming from the first side as well, and everything is gonna die. And you can see the defeat on his face. GoodFriend leans back in his chair, defeated, absolutely devastated, on the brink of victory against the greatest Zerg of all time, getting his first gold medal. GG's, and that was a horrible point for the VOD to cut out, ladies and gentlemen, but GG. Oh my goodness, that is just absolutely brutal. Wow, just, you could just, I don't even know what to say. GoodFriend was so close. He was so close to winning his first ever Star League victory. He was in the natural of Jelizerg. Look at this, just for so long, for minutes, for several minutes, he was killing buildings, and Jelizerg just was able to hold on so long and just be so incredibly patient. This is one of the most aggressive Zerg players ever, playing it super extremely patient, waiting for all of these buildings to die, waiting for hatcheries to die, sunken colonies to die, losing a few lings, harassing the Marines and losing Mutalisks as well, and then finally going in right here at the very end with Zerglings and Mutalisks, and actually just finally polishing off that attacking force. And then there wasn't anything GoodFriend could really do about it after that. He was on the defensive. Jelizerg just went ham on this area over here. And it's interesting. Again, this is when does that expansion go up? Because I don't see any expansion on the bottom right on the minimap right now. So it goes up shortly after this. Let's see. Oh, this is the second push. I'm sorry, this is the second push. So while he's doing this second push, GoodFriend still hasn't expanded. He finally starts the expansion up while he's in the middle of this push, actually, because he's looking at mining out. He knows he needs to mine out. So right now is when he builds that command center down in their bottom right. But look at the patience that Jelizerg shows right here, not panicking, not going in for an all-in attack and losing units like he kind of did to save that spawning pool in the previous game when he didn't have enough to actually defeat it. He waited and slowly built up this force of Zerglings on the side until he had enough. And now, finally, when he realized, okay, now I think I have the advantage here. The tanks are unsieged. Now is the moment to go in here. And I think he saw them sieging up. Nope, wait, he waits even longer. When does he go in here? Oop, I just skipped ahead of it. Kills off one of the tanks. That might have been the go button as well. But I was also, he was waiting for, okay, the last possible moment is when he's starting to shell this base. Is when I need to go in, and he's about to get it. And look at this surround. Just beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. And he just burned enough stuff and waited long enough that GoodFriend just, you know, I think this is the winning moment of the game, honestly, right here. GoodFriend just didn't have enough there. And, you know, and again, Jelizerg consistently sending out mutas, if you can follow where I'm showing the minimap, sending out the mutas to kill reinforcements and then going back to use them to harass the main force. Sending out to kill reinforcements, going out to harass the main force. Over and over again. He killed, imagine if there's another 15 Marines here. You know, that's about how many he killed running up this map. Imagine if there's another 15 Marines here instead. GoodFriend wins this battle. He takes out Jelizerg expansion. He wins the game and he wins the series and he wins the championship. But Jelizerg just played that perfectly and did just perfect harassment on the reinforcements. Even when GoodFriend tried to kind of fall back with his main force to guide those reinforcements forward as a unified group, it's a very smart move, you know, very necessary play. But he was sending units piecemeal across the map and they were getting picked off some of the time. And, you know, I wonder if maybe he should have just built up a huge group, you know, and waited until he had a self-sufficient group of Marines to run across the map. But then he faces the danger of Jelizerg breaking his push in the meantime. So it's, you know, like, what do you do? What do you do in that situation? But wow, Jelizerg playing it perfectly, playing it patiently, picking off reinforcements, waiting until he had enough stuff to go in and just absolutely obliterate the force of GoodFriend. And it was at this moment that GoodFriend is about to mine out his main, and Jelizerg can just go across the map, just destroy all this juicy buildings right here, and contain GoodFriend into a nearly mined out main base. And you know, at that point he can't really do anything. Look, he only had the 3 barracks as well. actually. Or maybe he had more again that I didn't see. He got one of them destroyed or something like that. But yeah. So I mean, 3 barracks is reasonable off 1 base. But I was thinking he had 2 bases because of the expansion down here. But really, I didn't realize that he was just mining out, and he was trying to make a replacement base. So, but Jelizerg takes the victory, ladies and gentlemen. Jelizerg takes his 2nd OSL gold medal. And, you know, I didn't want to mention this too much before, but, you know, now that the game's over, it reminds me that, you know, Jelizerg, I wish I had some more footage of like the closing ceremonies or something like that. The VOD just like ended abruptly, just right after the GG, unfortunately here, but it's the VOD that I have. So, so that's, this is the real end of the VOD right there. But unfortunately, you know, the real thing here to keep in mind is Jelizerg's real triumph in this situation. Oh, this was the last nail in the coffin right here, by the way. Oh god, just an absolute slaughter. Beautiful stop lurker tactics. He gets a few more Marines on the other side as well. And that was just like the final nail. I think he was still at an advantage, but that was the last great push that GoodFriend was trying to make while he was like distance mining and everything. You know, trying to put a little bit of pressure on Jelizerg to you know, maybe get an expansion, but I don't know, get something going. But those stop lurkers really shut it all down. But Jelizerg getting his 2nd OSL championship. You know, after a while of not getting a championship, things were looking like, you know, was he a one and done single championship player? And this showed that he was not. And oh, so what I was going to say is, you know, this is the myth about Jelizerg, or maybe I guess it's not even really a myth, is he could only win tournaments that were in July, and that his first OSL was in July, and at least part of it was, and this was a year later. So it took him a year to get back to the victory again to win his 2nd OSL, and it was in 2008, 3 years later, in July, when he was in the OSL where he beat Best to get his golden mouse and really just absolutely cement an already very ingrained legacy that he had. And you know, just an absolute legend, showing that, you know, getting the OSL victory to get his golden mouse in 2008 is just absolutely epic, showing that he was not just an 04-05 player. You know, like there were a lot of players like GoodFriend, to be honest, that you know, were of their era. They were very extremely good of their era, but didn't have the longevity, and Jelizerg did, and that's one of the reasons that he's so legendary. But just an absolute cool triumph for Jelizerg. So anyway, so that is it for the 2005 ever OSL, and this is a really interesting Star League. I've mentioned this a little bit before, but this is kind of the end of an era, you know. This Star League is almost a transition point in a way, because so many of the players that were the players that you know, you expected to keep going, you know, so many of the players that were like the top players didn't really go on after this, you know. I mentioned it before, this was the last time that Go Rush was able to get, you know, a medal. The last time Zelos was able to get a medal, or I guess Go Rush didn't get it, but the last time that they were able to get to, you know, such a high state in a tournament. This was the only time that GoodFriend ever got to a finals. So he ended his career with just 1 silver medal. And I'm sure he would have loved to have 1 gold instead of 1 silver if he only got 1 medal. But this was the last time that GoodFriend was in the finals. Not the last time he actually got to the semifinals, I think. But, and then, you know, this is the last time Jelizerg won a championship for a while, if I remember correctly. Actually, I'll double check to see if he got, he might have gotten an MSL victory or something like that in the meantime, but I don't think so. Anyway, but I don't want to waste too much time looking up stats and stuff. But yeah, just to throw it out there. Okay, so yeah, July Zerg. Okay, July Zerg actually, yeah, July Zerg ended up getting another silver and a bronze in 2005 as well, actually. So there you go. So July Zerg was not really out of it yet, but there was a lot of players that you just really, didn't see go on and really accomplish much after this Star League, and so it really was kind of the the end of an era in a lot of ways. So anyway, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. And if you've made it all the way to the end here and you've watched every minute, thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and let me know what you think about the next Star League to do, because I'm gonna try and do more replay commentaries. I think people enjoy those a lot more because of the HD quality and everything like that. But I like being able to have these old videos thrown in as well and follow these old Star Leagues and what have you. But I'm feeling like I've done three OSLs in a row. So we followed the storylines for 3 OSLs, and it's been really, really cool to do that and keep an eye on the same players and watch them grow and watch them fail and watch them go up and down over the course of a year of Star Leagues, right? But I'm kind of thinking maybe we need to switch it up and do something else, and maybe do an MSL, or maybe do a different era. Should I go do something from like 2006 or go back to 2002 or something like that? So any feedback is welcome, but I'll be thinking about it and seeing what feels like a good thing to do as well. But I'm going to probably, like I said, try to mix it up a little bit more. And I know I've been saying this for months, but I am going to be hopefully soon having the time and space to start doing some non-StarCraft videos as well, doing some other like indie games and Let's Play type videos and that kind of thing. So you might see a little bit more variety in the Moltrad YouTube feed coming up soon as well. And of course, we're still going to be doing VODs and Chill every Wednesday evening, every Saturday afternoon, Pacific time. We're watching old classic games, hanging out, having a match watch party, and just chilling out, talking about esports and life. So, and occasionally having some guests as well. If you guys didn't see the last one, the VOD's up. You can watch it if you want to. Diggity and Rise both joined me on Discord at different points in time. Actually, they were both on the same call for about a couple minutes. So we have guests come in and chat sometimes as well on VODs and Chill. And you can be a guest in the Twitch chat or the YouTube chat. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling and leave it here. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. GG. And again, apologies that we didn't do a whole production of everything with the pregame show and all that stuff, but we'll do that again sometime before too long. Thanks very much. Take care.